Hey everyone, guess who's back on camera? It's been a very long time. As you can probably see, I'm in a new apartment. I have moved since the last time I was on camera, which was, I think, maybe almost 2 years ago. I don't really have any posters up. I do have some stuff here extra that I don't have space to put in shelves, so there's a little bit of that, but I just figured this would be better than a blank white wall. So let's get straight to it. Today is a very celebratory day because today is the day that I am opening up kind of, my game footage and images and stuff of the game that I've been working on to the world. Yes, so I've set up standalone social media and everything, and the campaign starts from today. So hopefully, if you watch my other videos, you've seen that for this past year and a half, I've been working on making my own video game. I told you when I sort of graduated from YouTube, what I really wanted to do was make a video game that really, encapsulates, the feeling of the games that I love, that I talk about here, the 8, 16, 32-bit eras. And I have been working tirelessly, I will tell you, on this, and it's finally far enough to where I feel like it's okay and I can show people, and I hope you're going to be really excited about it. So let's get into what's going on here. So first of all, the title of the game is Violet Wisteria. Yep, that's right, Violet Wisteria. It also starts with a V, suspiciously, just like another game I really love that starts with a V. Yes, so the main character's name is Wisteria Asagiri in English. The Japanese title is Violet Fujiko, and the character's name is Asagiri Fujiko in Japanese. So there you go. Fuji means what? Wisteria in Japanese. So obviously at first it's going to be definitely on Steam, of course, and I am going to be looking for a publisher next. So depending on how things go, it could also eventually come out on Switch and PlayStation Store. It could happen simultaneously, we'll see. I am making the game in a piece of software called Game Maker. It's been called Game Maker Studio for a while, and they just changed the name back to Game Maker. But it can export to the Switch and PlayStation platforms. So I don't actually know the details, like if it takes how much extra work, to get it to fit those requirements. But theoretically, there shouldn't be this really long porting process. So it could come out for console theoretically, and I'm absolutely hoping that it will. Right now, I would say the game is maybe 80-ish% complete as far as the actual game goes. The graphics are very, very far along. The actual stage structure and enemy behavior and all that stuff is all but done. So it is really, really far along. Really, it's just kind of maybe the remaining 40% of music and maybe the last couple stages of environment artwork. But it's really, really far along. So my hope, it's dangerous to say this kind of thing, I would really like to get it out early next year, early in 2023. I've finally realized now why game delays are so common, because it is extremely difficult to make, an accurate prediction of when your game is going to be finished, because there's a lot more to do than anybody can possibly imagine, if you haven't done it. Even if you have done it, all kinds of things can happen. But that's my hopes for the game. I can't explain everything, obviously, about, how the game works and all of that, and that would be boring to listen to. But I did just kind of want to mention a couple extra things about, just what is it that makes this game special, and what is it that sets it apart, because now we live in a world where there's 20, 30, or 50 games coming out every single day, and, a ton of them call themselves retro-inspired. So, what is it that's different about Violet Wisteria that should make you want to play it as opposed to all these other games? And there are some things. So I'd like to talk about those in this video. First of all, Violet Wisteria is a beat-it-in-one-sitting game. There's no real save function other than, if you beat it and unlocked some of the extras. But really, you need to beat it in one shot. It's an 8-stage single-sitting game. With a similar amount of length to most of the other 2D platformers you would have played on the 8 and 16-bit consoles. I think that's not extremely common now. I mean, there's a lot of games, that call themselves retro inspired, and they probably are in a lot of ways, obviously, but most games now allow you to save after each stage, or you can continue and just go right back to the spot that you were at, and that kind of thing. So Violet Wisteria doesn't require you to experience the entire game in one single sitting. Probably one of the really big things I think about Violet Wisteria is that there is a concept of lives and continues, a finite number of lives and continues. Very, very few modern games implement this, retro stylized or not. The thing is, I think it's interesting to me that a lot of people promote the idea that having a limited number of lives is outdated or obsolete, and I completely disagree with that. If you actually have ever analyzed gameplay or thought out a game and made it yourself, you'll see that there's a very different mindset and a completely different blueprint for the game that you're going to have if you have a limited number of lives or continues. What I think might be Violet Wisteria's strongest point, actually, is that it gets something about retro games from the 80s and 90s that a lot of games now are really missing, which is that at that time, action games generally were not very heavy on story, right? You might just get a little hint at the very beginning of, okay, this is the setting, now go for it. Or, you might have cutscenes, obviously, cutscenes do help some games, Ninja Gaiden, Moon Crystal. But to me, the best games from that era were the ones where those pieces of story and then the locations and sort of the art style and the music and the overall presentation and stage design worked together to create this universe. And you could almost say like you're the story, you're going through this world, a series of experiences without stating it explicitly. So Violet Wisteria, obviously, I'm sure you realize it's inspired by Valis, so it has cutscenes, but they're not trying to fill your head with emotions and all this mental stuff. It's just sort of just supposed to be this little bit of angst, and then you go straight into it. And then the locations and the artwork and then the stage design as well then work together all within that. To give you a simple example, there's one part of the game where one stage is a wormhole connecting basically heaven and earth. So you go through this wormhole. So, it looks like how you would expect, obviously, it's kind of gelatinous. But the action gimmicks also make sense for that environment, for that place. So there's, these platforms that almost work like quicksand where you can fall through them. And then there's sort of like acidic jelly falling from the top of the stage sometimes, and things like that. So, because I was so inspired by games like Valis, or Astyanax, or things like that, where there's this very solid connection, to the artwork and how the music complements it, and the overall progression of where it is you're going next in the game. I think that Violet Wisteria actually gets that right, and it's portrayed very well. So those really, I think, are the things that you can expect to see in Violet Wisteria that you won't see in a lot of other modern games that, use pixel art or, call themselves retro-inspired. As usual, I've rambled on for too long. So anyways, all I really wanted to say is that it's been a long wait, it's been a long time in coming, and my game is going to be exposed to the world now. Not the game itself, but, footage. So please look forward to Violet Wisteria. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's a Twitter account now. The Twitter account is called Connie Pro Games. Connie Pro, that's the name of the game dev studio. Connie means crab in Japanese. There's going to be a separate YouTube account. It's also called Connie Pro. I'm sorry, but at the filming of this video, I don't know for sure if the Steam page is going to be available yet on the day that I put this up. I have applied and sent in all the stuff that you need supposedly, so I'm waiting to get approved. I think it was all correct, actually, so we'll see. Maybe if it if it works out, I'll put a subtitle on this or something. So I'm not sure, but there's definitely Twitter and YouTube. It's all in the description. So if you're interested in what's happening next with this game, you want to see more footage, please do check those out and, you know, follow the Twitter or subscribe to the new channel. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so for these next few months, you know, it's just going to be me going super gung-ho, obviously, you know, finishing up the actual game itself, but, you know, promotion, talking to people about it, trying to get the word out. So if you're excited about it too, you know, let your other gamer friends know that there's this game, Violet Wisteria, and it's probably going to be awesome. So as always, thanks a lot for checking out the video. It's been fun to see you guys again. Hope you're doing well. Take care, and I will see you soon.